In the streets of Rome, Enzo runs as fast as possible. The police are chasing him because he stole a watch. The chase goes on for a while, and when Enzo sees a protest, he mingles in the crowd to slow the cops down. Eventually he reaches the bridge and a police car blocks his way, so he rushes to hide inside a crane on the river. Unfortunately, the officers see what he's doing and Enzo has no choice but to jump into the water. He waits until the cops are gone to start moving again and accidentally steps on some old barrels which make him slip. A barrel breaks and Enzo ends up covered in its radioactive materials. By holding onto the crane he manages to resurface and start making his way home. During the bus ride, he keeps coughing a very nasty substance. When he walks the last few blocks to his apartment in the slums, his body feels weaker with each step. That night Enzo spends a lot of time in the bathroom throwing up more of the black substance. When he gets in bed he can't stop shaking even while covering his body with several blankets. On TV, the news talks about the recent bombings and all the protests asking the government for help. In the morning Enzo is feeling better and his spit is clear again. After having a quick breakfast he goes to see his neighbor and Sergio to sell him the watch, but he must wait while he finishes a meeting with his gang. In the office, gang leader Fabio is arguing with his men on how to proceed with their next mission. They need to retrieve some illegal substances from a pair of mule brothers. Antonio isn't very happy with the improvised plan and complains, but Fabio demands obedience. Then one of the guys brings Fabio a new phone but it's not the requested color, so Fabio proceeds to beat him up to death. After the meeting is over Sergio finally meets Enzo and buys the watch. When Enzo is about to leave, Sergio asks Enzo to join the mission too. It's pretty risky but Enzo needs the money so he agrees. Then they go to Sergio's house to get the things they'll need and Enzo meets Sergio's daughter Alessia. She behaves rather oddly and is often drawing childish art that she hangs on every wall. Alessia tells Sergio about her favorite anime Steel Jig, actually believing that the hero will come to save her one day. When the men leave, Sergio apologizes for his daughter's behavior and reveals she's psychologically damaged. She was already special as a kid, but after her mother's death she shut herself off from reality. Moments later Sergio and Enzo pick up the mule brothers at the airport and drive them to an empty construction site. One of them feels sick and the other insists they should go to the hospital, but Sergio punches him and tells him to hand over the packages first. The brothers have the substances hidden in their bodies and the mission is to take them out safely. They move to the 10th floor of the building where the brothers are supposed to poop the packages out, however the sick brother suddenly has a seizure and dies. Apparently the package broke in his stomach and he had an overdose. Sergio announces they'll have to cut the body open to get the package. The living brother gets angry and throws water at Sergio's face to distract him before stealing his gun. At the same time Sergio picks up a call on his cell phone, so another gang member hears how Sergio gets shot multiple times. With his last strength, Sergio smashes the guy's head against a column. As both bodies collapse, the brother shoots one last time and hits Enzo in the shoulder, causing him to fall off the tall building. Enzo's body hits the ground with unbearable pain, yet there isn't a single injury. He stands up feeling sore and confused, so he runs away. Meanwhile Fabio and his gang meet with Nuncia, a dangerous terrorist and one of the biggest dealers in Rome. Fabio is supposed to bring her the packages from the brothers, so he lies and promises he'll get her the stuff soon. He knows that if he fails she'll kill him. On his way home Enzo is stopped by Alessia, who asks about her father. Enzo ignores her and enters his apartment to rush to the bathroom, where he covers the bullet wounds with some toilet paper. Alessia refuses to give up and starts pounding on his door, causing a very frustrated Enzo to answer by punching the wood. To his shock, he creates a hole with just his fist. To test this he pushes the wardrobe and rips the radiator off the wall to bend it, which confirms he now has super strength. Next Enzo goes out with his face covered and finds an ATM. He uses his new strength to hit it a few times, getting it loose enough to rip it off the wall. He takes it back to his place and uses the money to finally fill up his fridge and buy some dirty movies. When he checks the wound on his shoulder, it's already healed. At that moment he hears screaming and comes out to discover Fabio and his men harassing Alessia. It turns out they don't know where Sergio took the brothers and they need the information, but Alessia answers with more of her delusions. At first Enzo ignores them and tries to go downstairs, but Fabio is annoyed by his presence and slaps him. Enzo just keeps moving and the gang pushes Alessia into her home. They start searching the place for the illegal packages and when they grab Alessia's anime DVD she freaks out, scratching Fabio in the process. He immediately hits her a few times before asking one of his men to grab her. While the guy touches her in the wrong places, Fabio gets a knife and threatens to kill her if she doesn't tell him where Sergio is. Suddenly Enzo bursts through the window with his face covered to hide his identity. A gangster comes closer to punch him, but Enzo barely feels any pain and easily picks the big guy up to throw him on the table. Fabio grabs Alessia hostage and orders his men to stop the stranger, however Enzo defeats them all in seconds thanks to his new power. A terrified Fabio then announces they're leaving and the men rush out of the apartment. Alessia uses the chance to hit Fabio and free herself, causing him to fall. Fabio brings down the knife on Enzo's foot before running away with his men. Afterward Enzo removes the knife and looks inside his shoe to discover he's lost a toe. Alessia thinks Enzo is the hero from her favorite anime and asks him to take her to his home so she can be safe. They go to his place and Enzo sews the finger back on his foot while Alessia keeps rambling about the animated superhero. She thinks Enzo should help the whole city, but he claims he doesn't care about people and only saved her because she's Sergio's daughter. When she asks about her dad again, he says he doesn't know where he is. That night Alessia sleeps on the bed and Enzo takes the couch, but he can't fall asleep because he's distracted by her body. When he searches her jacket, he finds a box containing some papers that detail a plan to rob an armored truck. The next morning Enzo wakes up to find Alessia watching a dirty movie and immediately turns it off. When he checks his foot he discovers his toe hasn't reattached to his body, so it seems not all injuries can heal. Since Alessia doesn't have any relatives, Enzo takes her to the nursing home where Sergio sent her whenever he was put in jail. Enzo promises he'll come back for her tomorrow and plays along when she keeps calling him the name from the anime. When Enzo returns home, he studies Sergio's plan but also watches some episodes of Alessia's favorite series. Meanwhile, the security footage of Enzo stealing the ATM has gone viral. Fabio and his gang see it and they realize it's the same guy that attacked them. The group is still looking for the packages since Nuncia is expecting them, but Antonio thinks they should take a loan to pay her instead. However, Fabio refuses to ask anyone for help to protect his reputation and announces they'll rob the armored truck. When they return to the office, Nuncia's men inform Fabio that they've found Sergio's body, so Nuncia wants the money tomorrow. The next day Fabio and his men hide in the tall grass by the road to wait for the truck. However, Enzo is on the bridge and throws rocks at the truck to make it stop. Then he jumps on it, breaks the window, and throws the driver out. The other employee surrenders in fear, so Enzo proceeds to punch the back door. Once he manages to rip it off he can steal all the money. A furious Fabio comes out of hiding to open fire, but Enzo just runs away. The gang has no choice but to do the same since the employee is already calling the police. That night Enzo fills up his fridge again and buys a projector to continue watching the series. The moment is interrupted by the doorbell, and when he looks out the window he sees a police car parked outside. Enzo opens the door just enough to find two police officers who found Alessia wandering around, so they brought her back. Once the cops are gone, Alessia gives Enzo something she knitted for him, saying he should wear it when he transforms. Enzo tries telling her that he doesn't want her there, but Alessia discovers he's bought the whole DVD set of her favorite series and they end up watching it together. During the marathon Alessia reaches out for more food and accidentally grabs Enzo's hand instead. He holds it gently and squeezes it, but when he removes a DVD box from under her leg Alessia has a breakdown. She thinks Enzo is trying to get dirty with her and begs for mercy while saying it hurts. Realizing she was abused in the past, Enzo hugs her and swears he won't hurt her. Meanwhile, Nuncia's men are at the meeting spot but don't see Fabio, so they try calling him. Fabio turns down the call while watching them from afar. The next morning Fabio notices some graffiti of the mysterious masked thief on the walls of his building. In the office Fabio finds Antonio getting ready to get that loan so he can pay Nuncia. An argument ensues, but no matter how much Fabio yells, Antonio doesn't respect him anymore and says he's in charge now. When Antonio walks out, Fabio sends his dogs to maul him to death. Back to Enzo, he takes Alessia to an abandoned amusement park because she remembers coming here with her parents when they still were a happy family. Alessia sits in the Ferris wheel and Enzo uses his strength to make it move, which makes her very happy. Afterward they go to the mall, where Alessia assigns a character to each stranger they see around. She convinces Enzo to try it, but he lacks imagination. They stop at a store to buy the princess costume Alessia always wanted. She invites Enzo into the changing room with her and gives him a few innocent kisses. Enzo finally loses it and pushes her against the wall to do the dirty, although Alessia doesn't enjoy it very much. When they leave the mall, Alessia snaps and yells at Enzo for not helping her find her father, so Enzo finally tells her that Sergio is dead. Alessia has a breakdown and blames Enzo for not protecting her dad. She also says she now understands he has no friends because he doesn't care about anybody, not even her. Then she runs away alone. In the meantime, the truck robbery appears on the news and Fabio throws things around his office in jealousy of the stranger's popularity. Seconds later Alessia gets on the tram, but it suddenly stops when Enzo grabs it from behind. The people see his strength and realize he's the infamous thief, so they start recording him. After getting the tram system to stop, Enzo goes inside and apologizes to Alessia. She agrees to leave with him but also reminds him to wear a mask since the passengers have now seen his face. Enzo carries Alessia out of the tram and people follow him to record him. The moment is interrupted when a new bomb explodes in the city. While everyone panics, Enzo takes the chance to escape with Alessia unnoticed. Minutes later they're at the police station and Alessia identifies her father's body. On a parking lot, Fabio meets with a dealer friend to ask for the loan and they end up getting naughty in the car. Suddenly Nuncia appears with her men, who drag him out of the vehicle and punch him. Fabio tries to explain he has the money but he's ignored. Nuncia shoots the other dealer and gets the money from the car while her guys tie Fabio up with tape. Then they pour gas on him and fill his mouth with soap while mocking him for crying. Nuncia gets her lighter ready, but instead of setting him on fire she starts laughing, saying they're just kidding. At that moment the other dealer reveals she's still alive and opens fire, quickly killing all of Nuncia's men. Fabio uses the chance to steal a gun from a fallen guy and opens fire too, hurting Nuncia's leg before she escapes in her car. A furious Fabio deals with his frustration by shooting the other dealer too. That night Fabio returns to his office only to discover all his dogs and the rest of his gang are dead. On TV he watches footage of Enzo at the tram and recognizes him as the guy from the stairs. At that moment the only surviving gang member enters the room and Fabio tells him they'll get revenge. They get in their car just in time to watch Alessia and Enzo leave their apartment with a bag of clothes and drive away on a bike, so they start following them. Sometime later Enzo and Alessia hide in a hotel in another city, hoping the police won't find them there. Enzo tells Alessia how hard it was to grow up in the slums and how he had to watch all his friends get killed during a robbery. Suddenly Fabio bursts into the room and shoots Enzo with a sedative, causing him to fall unconscious while the henchman also comes in to capture Alessia. When Enzo wakes up, he finds himself tied up with tons of tape. Alessia is being kept in a van and Fabio threatens to kill her if Enzo doesn't tell him how to get powers. At first Enzo says he doesn't know, so Fabio orders the thug to hurt Alessia. Hearing her in pain, Enzo has no choice but to cooperate. Enzo guides Fabio to the spot in the river behind the crane, but Fabio refuses to jump because he thinks it's a trap. At that same time Alessia tells the henchman she needs help peeing and once he's close enough, she stabs his neck with a knitting needle. She runs toward the river, where Nuncia and her thugs are showing up as well. Fabio opens fire and tries grabbing Alessia as his hostage, however the enemy quickly shoots him down. When Enzo checks on Alessia he discovers she's been shot too. A dying Fabio tries to crawl away but Nuncia stops him by burning him with a flamethrower. Fabio panics for a few seconds before his body falls into the river. Before dying, Alessia tells Enzo to become the hero Jig and save everyone. The next morning Fabio emerges from the river covered in chemical waste. He puts on some makeup to handle the burnt scars and even chooses a wig. When he tries to kill a fly he destroys part of his car, proving he's gained super strength too. Then he goes to Nuncia's headquarters and puts down his phone to record the following fight. Thanks to his new powers, he easily kills every single henchman in the room. When he reaches Nuncia, he hugs her so hard that he breaks her spine, killing her. After dancing with the body, he notices a mysterious door and opens it to find a big variety of weapons. The explosives prove it was Nuncia's gang who bombed the city. Meanwhile Enzo is too sad to do anything and simply wanders around. A pair of cops see him from their car but when they try to go after him, they accidentally cause a family vehicle to crash instead. The officers run to rescue the mother, but they don't grab the daughter in time and the car catches on fire. Enzo immediately rushes to the car and rips off a door to take out the child. The mother reunites with her kid and hugs Enzo to thank him, which reminds him of Alessia. Then the TV on a food cart shows the video of Fabio killing Nuncia's gang, which has gone viral. The video ends with Fabio talking to the camera, saying he's preparing something big. Determined to stop him, Enzo convinces a driver to lend him his bike. When the guy asks for his name, Enzo introduces himself with the name of the anime hero. In the meantime Fabio has made it to a stadium full of people by pretending to be hobo, which allows him to take the guards by surprise and knock them out. Once inside, he starts getting the bomb ready. When Enzo also arrives at the stadium an employee reminds him he needs a ticket, but Enzo simply moves a piece of the heavy gate with his bare hands. He quickly finds Fabio and tries to fight him, but Fabio surprises him with his new strength and throws him through a wall. Enzo retaliates by throwing a toilet at Fabio's head and the fight continues. The men throw punches with outstanding strength and keep using the walls for extra damage. Noticing he can't win this fight, Fabio tries to run away and Enzo runs after him while the police begin surrounding the building. After lots of running Fabio hides among the crowd in the stands, but Enzo still finds him and starts beating him up, causing him to drop the detonator. Fabio punches back and throws Enzo off before jumping over the wall. When Enzo manages to recover, he sees the cops trying to catch Fabio. He decides to jump too and he hits his head when he lands, leaving him dizzy. This gives Fabio time to defeat the cops and run away. Enzo forces his body to move and goes after Fabio, who activates the bomb manually inside an ambulance and runs to escape again. When Enzo notices there are only 5 minutes before the explosion, he gets in the driver's seat and takes off. Unfortunately the police are blocking the street and don't back off when he mentions the bomb. Enzo decides to grab the bomb and push the ambulance forward, causing it to crash against the police cars. While the officers are distracted, Enzo runs through the crowd to try to reach the bridge, only to be tackled by Fabio. The bomb falls near the railing while Fabio starts smashing Enzo's head on the ground. Then Fabio runs toward the bomb and lowers the time to 15 seconds. Enzo recovers just in time to tackle him back, causing them to fall into the river with the bomb. The explosion finally happens underwater and doesn't destroy anything, it only sends up a burst of water that drops Fabio's head on the bridge. For the next few days, every news outlet discusses whether Enzo is a true hero or nothing but a thief. They assume he drowned during the explosion, but actually he's managed to come out of the river and now he wears the mask Alessia knitted for him to keep his identity hidden while helping the city.